Okay.
And
This meeting is being recorded.
thank you, robot student Miriam. That was who does the intro. This meeting is definitely being recorded. So welcome, Yvonne, Marianne, Yvonne, Zeta. I'm so happy that you joined me on this Saturday. We are almost at the end of the semester. I believe you're writing exams very soon. Marianne, when's the exam scheduled?
4th of October.
Ooh, so let's do the countdown. So you basically have 7 days in September and 4 days. That's about 11 days, 10 to 11 days. All right. Plus you also have other modules to concentrate on.
Yeah, this is pretty much our second to last lesson.
Yes, second to last lesson. That's right. Yes. All right. So I've got two queries out here. Zeta, you asked me about something called Boolean variables, Zeta. What is it that you don't get about Boolean variables, Zeta?
So I don't know if there's other ways that we can answer questions. Do we specifically have to answer questions with Boolean variables or values unless they ask for it? Or is it very useful to use that instead of something else? Or like I just don't get why we're using that if there's workarounds for it.
Okay. See, so I'll explain to you the importance of Boolean variables, right? So this comes under lesson 11. Now, a Boolean variable enables you to make a decision. That's what a Boolean variable does. It allows you to do something if a particular action is true. It allows you to go through another route if an action is false. All right. So it's very, very important concept in programming because it allows you to make decisions. And very often, yes, go ahead, Zeta.
Sorry, that's actually where I don't know which road to go, because with an if statement, you can also like say if this, else this. So
Correct.
It's basically, to me, It doesn't really make sense for why we would use a Boolean instead of an if statement.
Okay, so a Boolean variable now complicates this if statement. So let's say, for instance, Zeta, you are hungry and you are thirsty, right? Listen to how I spoke about it. I said, Zeta is hungry and thirsty. Hungry is a variable, thirsty is a variable, and is the Boolean variable, Zeta. So I could have said, if Zeta is hungry, eat. But if I'm saying, if Zeta is hungry and thirsty, then go to the restaurant. So where a Boolean variable becomes important is that Zeta, we're now having a complicated decision to make. Do we only eat food or do we drink water? Right? Does that help you in where we don't need it, Zeta?
It does, sir, but
yes.
Then there's on your screen that you're actually sharing, it says provide three operators and. So if we're gonna say Zeta is hungry and thirsty, why can't we just use an and then in a case like that instead of a Boolean?
And is a Boolean. And is a Boolean. Yes. The word and or not. Those are Boolean operations that we are doing. And a variable that takes it on would have a Boolean variable. It'll either be true or false, Zeta.
Okay, and we can assign, and we can assign if it's true or if it's false.
You can assign something to be true or false with a 0 or a 1.
Okay.
Okay, so let's take an example. Right? So they have an example out here. And the reason I take things straight from your study guide is that after this lesson, you can always go back to it, and I'm not starting something brand new, right? So there's an example out here. If I see out true, that means I is indeed equal to true. It's equal to 1, right? In my case, I'm assigning 1 to be true. And let's look at another example, Zeta. Using a Boolean operator. So there's a difference between a Boolean operator and a Boolean variable. A Boolean variable, Zeta, takes on the values of true or false, 0 or 1, right? A Boolean operation is with the and or not that takes place. Okay. Zeta, you with me?
Yeah, I'm with you, sir.
Oh, put your camera on, Zeta. Put your camera on. Let me see who's. I've got my camera on.
So
Let's
that
see
was
how-
actually an accident. That was not what I was
Oh,
intended
okay. So let's look at the Boolean operation. So there's a Boolean operation here. Zeta, I'm sharing my screen. Are you able to see the code blocks operation?
I am, sir.
All right. So it says Zeta. It says this is explaining a Boolean operation. In line number 9, it says if n is greater than 10 and n is less than 20, I want you to say thank you. Let's just say the number is indeed between 10.
Uh-huh.
Can you hear him, Marianne?
No, I can't. That's what I'm doing now. I'm trying to go to the participants thing
Hi,
to see
hello.
if you-
I'm here. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I lost you. I lost our internet connection for a few seconds there, and I switched over. Marianne, can you hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you.
Oh, great. Zeta, you still with me?
Yes, sir.
Great. So Zeta, I'm now looking at this example of this
We
program.
can't see your shared screen, sir.
Okay. Let me share my screen again. Sorry about that. All right. Now, Zeta, are we all okay?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Great. So Zeta, so if I look at this example, it says enter an integer between 10 and 0. And in line number 9, there's a Boolean operation. And I could have used another Boolean operation or, right? But in this instance, I'm looking for and. It all depends on what the question requires of you. As soon as it becomes a complicated decision, that means I have a mathematical interval in there, or I have more than one decision to make, like hungry and thirsty. I am between 10 and 20. See, I've got to look at numbers that are less than 10. I've got to look at numbers more than 20, all right? Or I've got to look at the interval from 10 to 20. That becomes a little bit of a complicated decision because I've got to now look at intervals of numbers. So let's look at what happens out here, Zeta. Still with me, Zeta?
Yes, sir.
Right, so it says if n is greater than 10 and this is the important word, and n is less than 20, then it must display this message. Otherwise, else it must say it's not between 10 and 20. So let's go and compile my program. Compiling my program, let's view my toolbar, my logs. Oh, everything is up to date. Let's run this program. So, oopsie, this is Zeta 2. This is not Zeta 1. Am I going to Zeta 2? No, I don't want that. And let's compile that again. Hold and run it. No. If that has to happen, I'm just going to close that. I'm just going to close that project. Now it should only have one project on screen. And it should just build and run. Oh, not the tomatoes example. Compile that. Run it. Let me just close the other workspace, the other projects. If this happens, Control C, I just open up a new project. Console application, ZETA Zeta 4. I know that's not your name, but Zeta 4 it is. And let's go there. Control A, delete, Control V. Let's close Zeta 1. Now, compile it. Right, so let's build and run this. So it says enter an integer between 10 and 20. So you now need to think of a number, Zeta, and I'm thinking of a number. I wonder if you think of the same thing. Think of a number and give it to me, Zeta, somewhere between 14 and 16. Because Marianne's there, an integer.
15, sir.
15. Marianne, did you think of the same number?
Yes.
Ah, great, great, great. So let's see what happens. Thank you. The number is indeed between 20 and 10. So it went and answered line number 9 and says, yes, that is true. So Zeta, this Boolean operation that we performed in line number 9 gave me an answer of true. That's Boolean functioning. You're functioning in the Boolean operation. And therefore, it ran line number 10. It did not, Zeta, run line number 11 and 12. Now, let me run the program again. Running the program again. This time I'm naughty. I don't want to choose a number between 10 and 20, right? So I'm deliberately choosing a number outside of this range. I want to see what the program does. So let me think of a number between 5 and 7. Oh, for Marianne, an integer between 5 and 7. Marianne, Zeta, what number are you thinking of?
6.
Oh, that's the same number I thought of, right? Zeta, did you think of that number as well?
Yes, sir.
Ah, great. So now, Zeta, what happens is it says in line number 8, by the way, Yvonne, you asked me about variable diagrams. Yvonne, this is what I'm doing. I'm actually doing a variable diagram. I'm tracing through the program. Okay. So, and we'll talk about drawing a variable diagram now. So it says in line number 6, I entered in a value of n. In line number 10, it says the number is 6 between 10 and 20. No, it's got something called an arithmetic logic unit. It's able to decide whether this number is more than that number, this number is equal to that number, this number is less than that number, right? So right now it knows that 6 does not lie in this range. So Zeta, here's the Boolean functioning taking place. That answer is false. So it does not go to line number 10, it goes to line number 11, and then it displays line number 12. It's going to say is not between 10 and 20. Oh, please, Lord God, let it work. Zeta and Marianne and everybody's watching. Oh, and Vivian as well. There we go. 6 is not between 10 and 20. Zeta, what do you think about that, Zeta? Is that cool or what?
Compiler, sir.
Oh, you can't see the compiler. Oops, let me share the, let me do a new share. Let me do a new share. Let's do a new share. There we go.
So I understand what you're saying now. I think I just confused myself a bit with the and operators and or not and stuff like that.
Okay.
Because I thought Boolean was only Boolean variables and not Boolean operators as well.
Ah, okay, okay. We're going to do that, Justin, all right? We're going to do that. But let me answer what Yvonne asked me. Yvonne, are you on the call? Yvonne, you still here, Yvonne?
Yes, I'm still here.
Yes. What did you ask me? What question you asked me about that appeared in last year's paper, Yvonne?
Precisely, yes, I do understand how variable diagram work. Basically,
Right.
just trace the code, right? I'm more concerned on how would you present your answer. So
Okay.
especially maybe when you have, if you can look carefully on that question, we had a while loop. So
Okay.
essentially, you just
Okay, so
tracing
let me
what
just
the
stop
code
you there. Let me just stop you there. We don't want to confuse our students, right? So your question was about a variable diagram. A variable diagram, Yvonne, is basically a trace of a program. You want to determine the output, okay? Now, I like to teach a variable diagram or tracing through a program using, rows and columns. Yvonne? Yvonne, you with me?
Yes,
Right. So I have a spreadsheet and in my spreadsheet, I have line numbers, right? And in line number, I'm going to have, let's say line number 1, right? Line number 1. So let's look at this now. I'm going to have line number and I'm going to have in. This will help you, Yvonne, in answering a question on variable diagrams as well as tracing through the program, all right? So let's look at what happens here. In line number 8, I have an input value for n. And the input value I said was 6. I go on, I'm going on to line number 9. In line number 9, I'm asking the question, is n, I'm just going to copy this out here. This will also help you, Zeta, in answering and understanding what's going on. Right? So it says, here's my decision that I'm making. Is n greater than, I should say, I'm using is n. Is, let's put that in brackets, right? Is n.
So, just another
Yes.
question on that. I also noticed through some of the examples, they put, for instance, n smaller than 10, they'll put in separate brackets and then everything in an entire bracket. And the ands, they leave. Is that
Okay,
necessary?
yes, that becomes complicated. Just keep that question, park it for now, and let me just go through this one, right? Zeta, you know, I'm a guy, we only can do one thing at a time, right? We can't multitask, you understand? That's a joke.
Yes, but Dr. Govender, a gentleman of your age should have learned that one on by now.
No. What my age? I got a program out there that doesn't, oh, my head lets me down again. Okay, let's go on. So this is what happens here. There's a decision taking place in line number 9. So n is still 6. Yvonne, there's my variable diagram. Here's my tracing through the program. Zeta, here's the Boolean operation that takes place. This is indeed false. If it is false, then I must go to line number. I jump and I go to line number 11. Oh, well, I can actually say line number 12, right? And in line number 12, I have another column for output. So this is how I like to show my students what to do, right? Output. And in line number 12, it says, is not between 10 and 20. Right? So here's my tracing of the program. Let's make it look, and this will help you when you're starting out programming, right? Now, as you get more and more proficient, you can take a pencil and just go through it and say, hey, is that number there? Is that number not so? And boom, it works out, right? So let's do another example. This time we want to know that the answer is indeed true, right? So line number again. And let's just copy all of that there. Control C, Control V, right? So this time I'm running the program, and in line number 8, I am stating that the number is 15, which we said earlier on, right? Then I go to line number 9, and in line number 9, the value of n is still 15. Is n between 10 and 20? Zeta, is 15 between 10 and 20? True or false?
True, sir.
True. So if it is true, I now go to, this is branching. I kind of branch out, right? I branch out and I go to line number 10. In line number 10, n is still 15. This is still true. And my output now says, thank you. The number is indeed between 10 and 20. Right? So let's just make some lines out there. And that's my tracing of the program, my diagram, right? Yvonne, do you understand what variable diagrams want out of you?
Yes.
Abdul, hello,
but
Abdul.
Yeah.
Yvonne?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay.
Here.
Abdul, what can you say about variable diagrams and tracing through the program?
Hi, sir. I like the method that you used. And my question would be on line number 9. Is it safe to say that line number 9 is a conditional statement?
Yes, yes. It's a condition. You're asking for what happens to this output where I take n and I compare it to this interval, the mathematical interval that I have, right? You can think of it like that, all right? It's a decision. Let's use the word decision. It's a decision that I got to make. Okay.
Yes. So, and if anyway, I see if that's another sign that I could use to say there's a decision that needs to be made wherever I say if statement.
Yes. That's the whole purpose of an if statement. If this, do that. It's a decision you are making. If I'm hungry, eat. If I'm thirsty, drink. Okay,
Thank you
Abdul?
very much, sir.
Right.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Zeta, do you have a clearer understanding of a Boolean operation?
Yes, sir. Thanks, sir.
Right. Now I'm going to talk about a Boolean variable. Right? So now that was a Boolean operation. Now let's look for a Boolean variable. Right? Let's take an example from the textbook. From the text, or study guide, as ma'am is calling it. Right. So here's a program, Zeta. It says type the program and run to see what happens, right? So I'm going to cheat a little. Right. Wow. Marianne, aren't you impressed with my typing skills, Marianne?
Very, sir.
Thank you.
It never grows old.
Thank you. Right. Zeta, this is a Boolean variable, the value of a result. Result can only take on the values of either 0 or 1, true or false, right?
Can it be yes or no as well, sir?
Oh, yes or no too. Yes or no. Yes. Like I'm answering you now. Yes, no, right? But in computer programming terms, we like to say 0 and 1, right? Because there's some section called binary digits. I'm not sure if any of you are doing another computer science module where they talk about binary numbers and hexadecimal numbers and the likes of that.
1521.
Oh, great. 1521. So in 1521, you're talking about binary numbers and they do some arithmetic and they talk about hexadecimal numbers, and that's to do with memory and how it's stored and all of it goes with it. All right. Now let's look at this program. It says in line number 7, bool is result is declared to be a variable of type Boolean. N1 and N2 are integers. Result N1 is greater than N2. If N1 is greater than N2, I must store that value in result, which is either true or false. If result, that means if result is true, I must now state that N1 is indeed greater than N2. Otherwise, Zeta, I must go to line number 15. So let's compile this program. Let's run this program. Right, Zeta, you there, Zeta?
Yes, sir.
I want you to give me 2 integers, any 2 integers.
6 and 13, sir.
6 and 13, right? Let's see what happens. I'm going to look at 6 and 13. Is 6 greater than 13? Zeta?
No, sir.
No, right? Let's see what it says. 6 is not greater than 13. Yay, well done. Zeta, you know some mathematics, right? Ah, good one. Right. Yvonne, are you there, Yvonne?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Right. Yvonne, you asked me about tracing through the program, finding out the variables, what happens with them, right? Let's answer your question with a variable diagram. So here's my variable diagram. I'm going to add another sheet. Thank you, Zeta. I saw that smiley thing there, right? So now I'm going to have for Yvonne line number, because I need to find out what's happening in this program. I'm going to have a result. I'm going to have N1, and I'm going to have N2, and I'm going to have a column for output, right? So this is what happens. In line number 10, I beg your pardon?
Column D to N2, sir.
Oh, thank you. N2, perfect, Abdul, right. So in line number 10, I have, in line number 10, I've got N1 is equal to 6. This is what Zeta told me. And N2 is equal to 10. I now go to line number 11. In line number 11, Zeta, N1.
It's 13, sir.
Sorry. Oh, what 13? No,
So
no, I'm going to.
N2 is 13.
Oh, thank you. N2 is 13. Thank you, Abdul. Right. In line number 11, I want to know whether N1 is greater than N2. Zeta, this is a Boolean operation that's taking place. Is N1 greater than N2? True or false? Zeta? Okay, Abdul, is
False,
N?
sir.
It's false.
False.
It's false. Right, if it's false, I need to now go to line number 15, right? And in line number 15, this is still false, and this is still 6, this is still 7, and it's going to say is not greater. Right, Yvonne, can you see what I'm talking about? Tracing through the program, finding out what happens with the variables. That's okay. All right, you're cool with that. Now, I just want to show you something. I want to just simply display. I'm trying to display what is results. C out, result, R-E-S-S-U-L-T, result is result. All right, I just want to show you what is true and what is false, right? Run this program. 6 and 13. There we go. Result is 0. Do you see that, Zeta? That result is indeed false.
Yes, sir.
Right? Can you see that? I just printed it out in line number 16. So they want to know, in our case, false is 0, true is 1. Okay. Or some compilers can fix that down. Yes.
Actually, I have a question on that. So
go ahead.
Here we're saying we never necessarily said 0 is going to be true or 1 it will be false. Is it like a standard thing? Or
if you read your study guide, it says something about that somewhere there.
Yeah, I
somewhere
remember.
there.
I just don't remember what did it say.
Yeah, somewhere it said something about. There we go. No, not that. Somewhere it said about 0 and 1. But it depends on the compiler how it was created. There we go. Any non-zero integer is treated as true. No. Right. But you can take for granted that 1 is true and 0 is false. There we go. We said earlier that the result of a relational operation is a Boolean. Although this is true, the subject to the Boolean is true and false are actually equivalent to 1 and 0 respectively. Yvonne, there we go. It answers your question on page 140. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, great.
So, if I could maybe give a tip here.
Yes.
I'll say, Yvonne, something that I find is useful to remember which way around that goes. If you think of it like a lamp switch. I mean, I don't know if it looks like that in the lamps in your house, but normally they have a 0 and a 1 on. So one's on, 0's off. So I remember it like that. 0 off, false, 1 on, true.
Yes.
Oh.
Right.
Yeah, I don't even have to think so much. Yeah, I think that's like a very logical way of thinking about it. Thank
Excellent.
you.
Lovely. Let's run this program where it is now. It's indeed true, right? I want to show you that the result is true. The result is 1. So this time I'm entering in 2 integers. I'm entering in 13 and 4, right? So n1 is indeed greater than n2. Result should be 1. There we go. Result is 1. You saw that, Yvonne?
Yes.
You saw that, Zeta?
Yes, sir.
Cool, right? So I could have assigned there. That's the difference between a Boolean operation and a Boolean variable. Okay. We generally use this in validation as well, right? And this also appears in past year papers where you have to determine, I think I posted that in the WhatsApp chat, right? Okay, so it's already 12:34. Let me answer Yvonne's question about variable diagrams, right? I already touched on it, but if I wanted to, let's go to variables, right? Variable diagrams. That's on page 2. Oh, let's start from the beginning. Control home, Control F, variable diagram. So variable diagrams appear in lesson 5 and in lesson 23. Right? Let's go to lesson 5, which is page 56. Right. So there we go. So can you see how they've used a block and I used it in Excel? It's the same thing, right? The same thing, Yvonne. So go over lesson number 5, lesson 5, and this is where they take the variable. Is there a variable diagram? Yeah. Let me see where's the variable diagram. There we go. There we go. Can you see how they have variable diagrams out here, Yvonne? Line number, number, and answer. Line 18, line 20. I just switched it around because of Excel. I could have done it with the word line above it. All right. Okay.
Yeah. So actually, now that you're mentioning it, let's just say if we can go back quickly to that question. The
Which
one
question?
from last year.
Right, last year's question. Right. Okay, there we go. There's last year's question.
Yeah, I just have a quick question on that. So let's just say in a case where we have to look at the condition.
Right. Let's look at the condition. Right. Let's do that. Right. Let's do that. I'm gonna take last year's paper. Right. There's last year's exam. Let's see if I can copy that into code blocks. Let's see. Copy that. Let me just copy that into Word first. Control V, right, great, I copied it. Right, Control A, Control C, Control A, delete, Control V. So there's the question that they have, right? They're missing some statements out here. They should have had a, let me just quickly copy it from somewhere else. Right. Ooh, okay. I'm just going to make this a little less. Right. Yvonne, are you able to see this program? I'm just right. Results. Oh, they don't have a result yet. Okay. I'm just making it a little easier for you to see what's happening. Return. Yvonne, let me tell you what's happening in this question, right? Why they have a function out here, result, and they have a parameter that's being passed out there, but they don't have the rest of the program. So I don't know what is the main program, and I can't take it from there. But what I'm going to do is answer it with the questions from here, right? So let's draw a Control V, right? So let's take it how they have. Let's have a table out here. Let's draw a table, insert a table, insert a table. Right. So there's my line number. Here's my result. Here's my value P. Here's A. Here's count. Is count less than value P and A and count? So what's going to happen, Yvonne? Yvonne, you still with me?
Yes.
Okay, so let's keep the question on one side of the screen. And let's, right, so Yvonne, I'm not going to give you the entire answer. I'm just going to help you along. And what I will do is I will work out the answer and I'll work out how I'm going to explain it to you. And we can have another Zoom session and we can do that. Would that be okay, Yvonne?
Fantastic.
Okay, great. Right? Because you just threw me a curveball in the middle of a recording and I don't want to confuse anybody, right? But this is what I'd like you to answer it. Let's put that down there. So it's question number
3.
Right, 1.3. Consider the following program. What will be the output of the following statement executed in the main program? Find the value is 3. That means 3 is being passed across to number P. So is it 3?
You're doing 1.3. The question is 3.
Oh, the question is 3. Oops, sorry. Thank you, Yvonne. Right. So demonstrate the execution and output of the program by drawing a variable diagram that traces each line of code if the value of P is 6. So they are telling me that the value P is 6. So value P is 6. So if I'm putting it down there, it's 6. And that comes in line number 1. In line number 1, the value of P is 6. Now I go to line number, I don't have anything in line number 2, so I'm just going to go to line number 3. In line number 3, A is taking on the value of 2, right? I now go to line number 4, right? And value P is still 6, A is still 2, count now becomes 0, right? Yvonne, are you following? Abdul, how's this, Abdul?
Yes.
I now go to line number 5, right? In line number 5, I've got to make a decision out here. Is count less than value P? Is count less than Zeta? Here's the Boolean condition taking place, right? Here's the Boolean condition taking place. Is this true? Is the value, is 0, the value of 0 less than 6? True or false, Zeta?
True, sir.
True, great. If it is true, Zeta, that means I must go inside the loop. That means I must go to line number 7. And in line number 7, the value is still 6. A is still 2. Wait a minute. A now becomes plus equals count plus A divided by 2. So the value of A is 2. Count is 0. A is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, right? So let's just copy that into a compiler. Control C. I'm cheating a little out here. Int A. C out. What does this value give me, right? So I want to find out, and my count was, what did I say my count is? So I'm going to put that into a compiler to find out the answer. I'm going to cheat a little. By the way, in years gone by, they were allowing the use of the compiler. All right. Who asked me that question? Someone did it. And I'm sure they're going to do that again for this year round, I hope.
So if I understand that your statement, meaning during our exams, we could have access to our code blocks where we can actually run the code.
Yes, yes. Right, ma'am allowed that years gone by. Right, I'm waiting for her. So please ask me that question by email. then you could then this is how unqualified experience. Right. Int. What am I missing here?
Where declare your variable.
I did not declare my variable. Okay, let's just open up a new one quickly.
It was outside the main function.
Let's see there. Control V. Ivan, you know what I'm doing here, Ivan? I'm working out what does this do. Ivan, you with me?
Yes,
right.
I'm still here.
I'm taking your question and I'm using code blocks to assist me, right?
You are yet to assign a value to A, so you need to assign a value to
Oh,
A.
what is the value of A? A is equal to, let's look at my program. A is 2. A is equal to 2. C out. Okay, that doesn't like that. Let's just say ounce is equal to Control C, Control V. Right, and I'm going to say, right, gotta
declare your answer, sir.
Yes, and yes equals 0, right? Oh, great, right? Let's run this program, and it's 3. How did it get 3? I took the value of A is 2 plus 1 is indeed 3. So let's work backwards because of board mass. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Plus equals means A is equal to A plus this, right? Instead of writing plus equals, you can only say A plus that, right? That's what it basically says. Take the value of 2 plus 1, all right? But let's leave it as what they have, right? It's plus equals. Ounce is plus equals, sorry, A. All right, plus equals count. All right, so that value is 3. Now I'm going to ask the question to you. In line number 7, the value of A becomes 3. Now I go to line number 8. In line number 8, what happens? Count becomes count plus equals 2. Whatever the previous value of count was, it's now incremented by 2. And Yvonne, if it was previously 0, what does it now become? Yvonne?
Hello?
Hello, if it
Yes,
was previously 0, now what does it become?
If it was previously 0.
Yes, what does it now become?
Where are we? I lost
We are in line number 8. In line number 8, it says count plus equals 2.
Line 8, line 8, line 8. Oh, we're here. Line 8, yeah. Count. Okay, so it's going to take the count, which is originally 0, and add it to 2.
Right.
So our new updated value is going
to 2. Correct. Right. So line number 9 says go back to the top and says, see what is this? Count is now 2. Is 2 less than equal to 6? Is that true or false? Zeta?
It's true, sir.
It's true. Right. So let's go and insert more lines out there. I should have inserted more lines. Insert a table. Let's go insert that. Insert rows below. All right. So now it says it's still true because 2 is less than 6. This was in line number 5. I now go to the next line. Let's insert another row there. I insert a couple of rows in one go. Insert rows below. Insert rows below. Above. Okay, above, below. Right. So I now go into line number 6. Count is now 2. And I want to find out the value of that. Right. So it's 2. Let's run this program. A is 3. Right. A is 3. Let's run the program and get an answer. Right. So hopefully we'll still be allowed to use our compiler and it'll give us an answer. So the value coming out there is 5. So A becomes 5. And Yvonne, you will continue like this. Continue, continue, continue. Okay, Yvonne?
Yeah. Okay. Actually, my question, it was just merely a quick question. I wanted like to clarify on how would you presented your answer. So I noticed because when I did the question, I only had like those variables, the result, the value of P and A, and count. So I didn't have that conditional statement and it's saying if it's true or not.
Okay. A good question, Yvonne. Right, let me tell you, let's look at the question. Let's look at how it's phrased, right? How many marks it is. It's 8 marks. You are required to draw a variable diagram to illustrate what the code does. So they want you to draw these little blocks, right? Either you draw it like that or not. And because it's 8 marks, Yvonne, you may not necessarily get the output, the final output correct, but you will definitely get part marks if you include as much variable blocks as such, right? And line numbers as well, okay, in a block. Okay. Does it help you with your answer? Right?
Yeah, it does.
Right. Sometimes more is better in that because look at the mark scheme. 8 marks, Yvonne. 8 marks. So put down as much as possible. All right. And they are asking you for a variable diagram. They are asking you to trace through the program.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
I hope that answers your question and that I direct you in the right path. Okay. Thank you, Yvonne. Right. So
but my last quick question. Yes. So maybe I might be diverting because I think we had 2 chapters on this. Another variable diagram was on chapter 8, but no, chapter 20, lesson 23. But in this one, we're focusing on, I think it's when working with 2. I don't remember well, but let me quickly refresh.
There we go. Let's go to you're talking about page 128 somewhere there, right? Program debugging. There we go. There's it here. Can you see that they also have it like this, right? I just joined the diagrams together because I'm drawing a table. Otherwise, it means we're drawing a block for each one. Can you see line 12, 15, 18? There we go. Largest, smallest in value range. Is that what you're talking about?
Not quite, but I'll have a look at that one.
Okay. The other thing that they'll ask you a variable diagram is where there's parameter passing. All right. So there's a variable diagram with a procedure in it, and there's value parameters and reference parameters, which is a different question. Reference parameters must appear in the exam. It's appeared in plenty of past year papers. Okay.
Okay, I'm losing you with a lot of information. Please phrase it again.
Okay. Variable diagrams is a definite question. Okay. And they'll ask you, they probably will ask you to draw a variable diagram where there's a function in it or a procedure. And that procedure has parameters in it. Okay. That's what I'm getting at, Yvonne. All right. So you need to know a couple of weeks ago or months ago, I drew a diagram where I said that whatever happens in let's just find a function here. So why I'm mentioning that to you is let's take a reference parameter now. Let's see. All right, there we go. There's an example here. I just chose the one from page 304, right? So on page 304, what I'm talking about is, can you see where they're talking about input marks out here? Can you see mark 1? Yvonne, I'm drawing a diagram. I'm drawing, mark 1.
So I'm not sure if it's going to be possible. Can you try zoom in on that PDF so that it could be more visible?
Oh, okay. Okay, let's just close the other one. Yvonne, oops, let's just take out that. Let's just, ooh, I don't like drawing like this, man. This is not a good drawing. Delete that. Oopsie. Okay, let's just do it again. Yvonne, I'm drawing a diagram. I'm drawing from input marks. Can you see this, Yvonne?
Yes.
Can you see that? That's what happens with mark 1 and mark 2. There's a one-to-one correspondence between the two. So if you are drawing a variable diagram for functions or parameters, right? You got to take note of this, that whatever happens in the function also happens and takes place, and control is transferred, or the value is transferred out here. All right, same thing with mark 2. Right, whatever happens goes there. All right, so that's the important point to note about parameter passing and variable diagrams. Abdul, are you able to see that a little more clearly now, Abdul?
Yes, so it's much more clear. Thank you.
Much clearer. All right, don't worry about this last little rule. This last one, that's not it. Yeah. I don't know how you delete it. Oh, there's the eraser. Yeah. Oh my goodness, I'm so bad. Oh, okay. Right. Let's play around the spotlight feature. Yeah, spotlight. Where's spotlight? Spotlight. No, spotlight should be working. Here's spotlight, right? Okay. Thank you. It's almost 1 o'clock. Can we call it a day?
So I do just have a quick question here.
Sure.
So I don't know, maybe I'm a little bit behind the others, but this morning I sat down and I've started going through the My Exams little online coursey thing that explains to you basically how to write your exam. And I see that they're asking a lot, or mention a lot, yeah, just be aware of negative marking. Has negative marking ever been used in 1511 in past years?
Not that I'm aware of, Marianne. And if they had to effect negative marking, I just don't know how they're going to implement it, because it's not as if you can take out marks for leaving out a semicolon and the program is being handwritten, not done on a compiler. So I don't expect them to do that. But do me a favor, Marianne, if you could email me your query, something to the effect of, will there be negative marking in the exam? And I'll forward that to this lecturer, and when she responds, I'll obviously share it with you, or she'll definitely copy you or email you as well. So ask them questions like this. In fact, that goes for everybody else on the call. Ask the question, are we allowed to use the code blocks compiler during the exam? Will there be negative marking during the exam? And what happens if load shedding occurs? Will we be granted a supplementary exam? And what are the questions that they had? I think about the proctoring software. Iris, there was the proctoring software that they're using. So ask all those questions, and ma'am will definitely reply ASAP, because it's now close to exams. Okay. Thank you, Zeta, for that question. Thank you, Yvonne, for that question. At least I was able to answer it, and I hope I gave you some direction and some strategy to answer the question. Quick review of exam strategy. Make sure that you go through all the lessons, all the important points at the end of the lesson, all the exercises. I even have the solution to the exercises if you like. Do I have the solutions? Yes, I do. Make sure that you go through. Don't just read a solution. That's the other reason I don't want to. Make sure that you try and answer the solution on your own and determine what is it that they want to test you on. So Zeta, if you are talking about Boolean variables, make sure you go through lesson number 11, because that's where they spoke about a Boolean variable, right? There we go, Boolean found. right? Found equals false. Check it out, Zeta. Found equals false. We would have said found is equal to 0 as well, okay? So go through that example. I'd go through at least last year's paper, October, November 2022, January, February 2022. And I also posted the 2023 paper in January, February on our MyUnisa site. Right? So if I look at the MyUnisa site, there we go, it's there. There's a 2021 paper. There's a 2023, right? I posted it on the this is quite a hell of a lot, right? There's January 2022, right? January 22. There we go, January 2022 exam paper, February, January. Right, so if you go over October 2021, January, February 2022, you should have an idea of what to expect for October 2023. Go over the past year papers. I think I had some PowerPoints as well. There's some videos that you can watch. And yeah, I have a few solutions, not all. INP 1501 is a similar module to COS 1511, right? So, in fact, if I'm opening it out here, let's see quickly. That's the paper, Introduction to Programming 1A, right? If you look at it, it's C++ programming. There we go. There we go. All right.
Isn't that the engineering diplomas course, sir?
I'm not sure, but it's very similar to it's C++.
Yeah, no, I was just wondering now because my brother's doing the engineering diploma next year, and they do have a programming course, but it's not COS 1511.
Okay.
So that INP thing did sound familiar now.
Yeah, it probably is. Right? I just got this because I looked at it. And there we go. Identify one formal parameter, actual parameter, reference parameter. Hey, y'all can answer this now. There's a reference parameter. There's the ampersand out there. Hey, check it out. 1 mark for jam. Right. That's 2 easy questions, these are. Right.
So I can also quickly ask a question while
yes, please, Abdul. Go ahead.
In terms of increment operators, what is the difference when you have A++ or when you have plus A? So sometimes the increment operator will be in front of that variable. So what effect would it have in terms of incrementing whatever variable?
Good question. Here we go, right? So I'm going to say A++, right? I don't need that anymore. That's a post and prefix, right? Post and pre. Right, so watch this, right? Run this. A++. A was originally 2. Now, let's just run this again. A is 2, right? Now, use this again if you have this in the compiler. A is equal to A++. Right, is that what you're talking about, Abdul?
Yes, sir.
If you are not sure, put it in the compiler. Let's see what our compiler does, right? All right, let's see what our compiler does. That helps me a lot. And build and run. All right. There, Abdul. No change. I don't know what's up there, right? A++.
And then can you put it now before? Make it a prefix now. Let's see then.
Right, let's put a prefix. There we go. Let's put a prefix. Compile it. Run it. There we go. Abdul. So yes, A++A means take the value of A and add 1 to that, right? But if I had A++, there's nothing to that. Okay, does that help you understand what A equals ++A means?
So what is actually happening, sir?
It's incrementing it by 1. Where I have the plus sign in the front of A, I increment it by 1. Look through your guide and look for pre and post. Control home, Control F post. Postfix. Is it postfix? Let's see if it's postfix. There we go. Before we discuss the difference between a prefix and a postfix forms of plus plus, note how we use n plus plus as an expression rather than as a statement on its own. We can do this apart from incrementing a variable. The operation returns a value. In other words, variable together with the operating acts as an expression. The value it returns depends on where the operator is placed. If it is placed in the postfix form, the operation returns the value of the variable before incrementing it. If it is in the prefix form, it returns the value of the variable after it increments it. There's your answer.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome, Abdul. Right. Okay, everybody. Marianne, are you ready, Marianne?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This session has been completed.
Thank you.